Hey, what's up, y'all? It's poppin'. It's D. About to react to this vid by Hip Hop Madness. It's titled Meanest versus Nicest Rappers. Okay, they better be providing some proof. I want to know why these people are so mean or so nice. But let's see who's on here. Let's watch.
Fame has a funny way of removing artists from reality. Suddenly granted everything they ever wanted, there's a tendency for them to grow colder, more egotistical, and even resentful to their own fans.
I come back just to shame you all. When I go on Twitter, it's shame time. When I come on here, it's you. When I go on Instagram Live, it's you. I don't like the more because y'all suck.
Meanwhile, there are some who remember who they were before the fame and become renowned for how nice and down-to-earth they are. But if you ever needed an example of how not to treat your fans, look no further than when a fan approached Nardo Wick backstage for an autograph. As disturbing as this video is, what made it even worse is that it sounded like the victim, George Obergen Jr., was literally his biggest fan. And according to his father, he had pictures of Nardo all over his room. Nardo has not spoken to us, his dad said. What he should do is collaborate with police, because those men that attacked my son were with him. They came out of the place together. We don't know the suspect's name because the rapper has not identified them. Nardo isn't talking. He does not want to cooperate. There can be long-term effects, and we're very scared. I can't even finish watching the video. I want to watch it frame by frame to see what happened, but my body just can't. After all this came out, Nardo unsurprisingly tried to do as much damage control as possible with an IG statement.
I don't condone that situation that happened. I don't stand for that situation that happened. I was fully unaware that situation was about to take place. And as soon as it happened, I tried to de-escalate the situation.
To be fair to Nardo, he was seen in the video attempting to de-escalate the situation. But even with that, it's clear to everyone that him and his crew really fumbled the bag. But in Nardo's case, we see how moving with the wrong people around you can ruin your reputation. But in the case of someone like J. Cole, Cole has been renowned for his politeness and how he maneuvers through hip-hop. While he could be solely focused on putting on his Dreamville artists, one of the reasons why Cole is renowned for his kindness is that he puts people on in such an organic way. Although he doesn't do a lot of features, it's impactful and meaningful when he does. Just look at what Summer Walker had to say about the process of working with him on her most recent album.
So we got a song called Audio Hug. I had asked him to do a song. He didn't really get time to do it. He wanted to meet, and I was so pregnant that I was just like, oh my God, I can't. So we didn't meet, but he ended up sending me something called Audio Hug. It's so sweet. I cried when I heard it. He was just like being hella sweet and just saying he sees all that I went through, and if I ever need to call him for anything, it was just cool.
Echoing the same sentiments, Bia, an upcoming rapper who worked with Cole on London, revealed that he hopped on the track not for any industry-oriented reasons, but purely because he liked it.
I just love Cole because he's such a good person. We don't really give the flowers to the men that make it comfortable for us to come in and like get our bars off and not feel judged. Cole is Cole, man. He's gonna rap anyone under a table anyways. So I was already like, what? Can I read to my verse?
In addition to working with established artists in the industry, Cole has also reached out to creators at the grassroots level and given them their props. Just look at how he treated a young producer who was just uploading J. Cole-type beats to YouTube. After using one of his beats while in a period of writer's block, Cole gave him the track to post to his own YouTube channel. This song should live on your channel and serve as a thank you to you and every producer out there cooking up and sharing their work with the world, said Cole. I typed in J. Cole-type beat into YouTube. Yours was the first I saw. I pressed play, focused, and wrote this. This is something that would normally stay in the vault, but I don't want to hold on to the music like that no more. This is for you and whoever else needs to hear it. In Cole, we see a masterclass of how you should handle both your peers and upcomers. But the same can't be said for G Herbo and Southside. What's going on, everybody? Spencer Zachary.
Y'all go support.
Like we used subscribe. Over the years, the super producer and Chicago-born MC have been regular collaborators, and it's a bond that no one really had any reason to be concerned about when they were turning out music. However, it now seems like the two might bring out the worst in each other after they appeared on Funny Marco's show, Open Thoughts. Throughout the interview, Herbo and Southside refused to play along with Marco's awkward humor. Instead, they saw it as a weakness and proceeded to take advantage of it.
Where'd you get that hat from, bro? That's what I want to know.
I got this from Target.
Let me see this stupid.
You mind the conversation or just him?
Shut up. This our show now, bro. Swerve and curve.
Who but?
You don't want to be but.
Yeah,
shut
bro.
Up. Yeah, bro. Just shut up and listen. Finish. Goofy.
In the aftermath of the video going live, people praised Marco for basically just letting them embarrass themselves. But soon, it was revealed that the worst of it didn't even make the original cut, as behind the scenes, they purposefully damaged his property. I understand a lot of y'all mad about the interview. I was upset while it was going on, but I understand I got a job to do. And one thing about me, I respect people on my show. I didn't want to match their energy. It's so many L's I took on my journey I wish I could show. I don't hide anything, so I feel it was only right to put the episode out myself, and just learn from that episode and move on. To prove that he wasn't fabricating the story, Marco then shared the footage of them breaking his watch. Afterwards, Southside just kept digging himself another hole with a ridiculous response on behalf of himself and Herbo.
Well, get on there and say he's scared. You ain't have to put it out. Herb wasn't doing nothing to that, man. That's how them folks play. When he mad about his watch. Marco, I got a watch right now. You can come get. And it's real. Because that I threw wasn't real. I'll give you a real new watch if you want one. My kids with them like they ain't nothing. They watches cost more than that.
Suddenly written off by fans who feel they were out of line for acting tough against a comedian who never tried to be a gangster, this has skewed the perception of G Herbo and Southside to the point that most casual fans have completely written them off. Speaking of skewed perceptions, we have T.I. Now, no one here is going to claim that Tip is a saint. Over the years, he's been hit with some questionable allegations. The less said about his relationship with his son King, the better. But Tip has to be commended for his empathy that stopped fatal tragedies from happening on more than one occasion. To date, Tip has talked at least 2 people off roofs when they were considering taking their own lives.
Atlanta police are crediting hip-hop star T.I. with talking a distraught man out of... The rapper turned up yesterday at a 22-story building where the man was threatening to jump. T.I. recorded a cell phone video offering to speak with the man if he came down, and he agreed.
Something in me just said, man, you gotta try and help. You gotta do whatever you can, T.I. later informed reporters. But this wasn't even an isolated incident. In fact, he also saved the life of a fellow musician in Creed's Scott Stapp. Afterwards, Stapp had nothing but praise for him. I had an accident and I was injured, and he found me injured and called the ambulance. He definitely was quick going to get me the help I needed when I was injured, Stapp told TMZ. We briefly spoke and gave each other a hug. He's a good dude. He seems to be at the right place at the right time. He's a good man with a good heart. For taking time to actively help people, T.I. deserves nothing but props. But one person who has always been accused of thinking about himself way too much is Kanye West. At the outset of his career, he was regarded as one of the good guys. For that, you need to look no further than incidents such as the legendary tirade in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, where he said that George Bush doesn't care about black people. Back then, he was seen as a man who was putting the community on his back and purposefully trying to advance the world for the better. But behind the scenes, Kanye had a more deceitful side that always infiltrated his creative process, particularly when it came to younger artists that he perceived as a threat. For starters, we have the fact that Kanye nearly removed Nicki's verse on Monster out of pure jealousy. In case you weren't aware, this was the verse that essentially elevated a young Nicki from a street rapper who was on the come up to a megastar. As the story goes, the feature was orchestrated by Ye's then girlfriend Amber Rose, and as she revealed,
he didn't know who Nicki was back then. I had Nicki pull up to the studio and I put her on Monster. She was still coming up, and I saw her in the studio and I said, oh my God, this is talented as hell. And then I went back to Kanye and I was like, you need to get this girl Nicki on Monster. And he was like, who? What? No. He's like, how the did you bring in a that killed me on my own song?
At that point, he contemplated leaving it on the cutting room floor, as he thought it might overshadow the rest of the work he put in. Kanye called to tell me that Jay-Z put a verse on this song and that he was still deciding if he would put it on his album. Nicki revealed in a post which celebrated the album's anniversary. It was like an hour-long call where I tried to convince him to let the song stay on the album. He felt the verse would end up being the talk of the album. I said, you're Kanye West. Since then, the tables have turned, and now it's Ye who can't get Nicki to clear her verse on New Body for his new record. But as much as he nearly sabotaged Nicki's breakout moment, this pales in comparison for how he treated Drake throughout his career. Despite Drake saying that Kanye was the most influential person in terms of music when he came out the gate, it seems like Ye always wanted to put Drake in his place. And in the process, he ended up trolling him for years. As while he gave Nicki her chance to shine on Monster, Drake found himself kicked off of all of the lights. Back then, he was willing to make excuses for his hero, saying, we make music differently. I make what comes to me and I hate changing it. Whereas Ye will change something 30 or 40 times to get it perfect. To each their own. And the change was to put all those people on it. And I wasn't one of them. That's completely okay. I can never sit here and tell you that's not one of my idols. But as we all know, this was only the beginning. From Ye claiming that Drake was paying for his songs to get radio spins, to allowing Pusha T to diss him on an album he produced, Kanye's concern over the rise of Drake was so blatant that he even took advantage of Drake flying out to Wyoming to help him work on his Ye album. Only for Drake to once again get humiliated.
Play me Lift Yourself, and he was like, yo, you can have this if you want. And I was hype. I started writing to it. Lift Yourself comes out with him just talking nonsense. This was like a manipulative, like, I want to break you thing. So I said, all right, I'm going to go back to distancing myself again.
Since then, Ye has apologized several times, but it basically set a precedent for them to never truly be on good terms. And on his recent track, Red Button, from the Scary House edition of For All the Dogs, he opened up about the relationship between himself and his mentor. As we've seen, Ye's Dogs, he opened up about the relationship.
The truth, he had my hand played. I'm gonna call the pieces up and get to work.
Between himself and his mentor. As we've seen, Ye's equally as compassionate as he is a narcissist. But one man who is universally loved for everything is Post Malone. Although he's always been a polarizing figure in hip-hop, there's no denying that at his core, Post is a good guy. So much so that there's entire compilations on YouTube dedicated to Post Malone being nice. And while it's clear that this should be the bare minimum for humanity, this list has proven that not everyone adheres to that. As a result, Post is seen as one of the nicest people in the industry today, because by the looks of it, he's never forgotten what it's like to just be a kid in the crowd. So when someone makes the effort to grab his attention, he makes sure it's worth their while.
These are so sick. I saw them on stage. I wanted to make sure I could come and grab them. You're a legend. You are so sick. Thank you so very much. Is that the tray? Yeah. I didn't know it was a tray. How do you know? These hoes stink.
In other incidents, he drew a tattoo for a fan who waved a sign at a show and gifted a young kid their first guitar. A man who sidesteps beef and treats everyone with kindness. Post shows what it means to be an asset to everyone who comes into contact with you. On the other hand, if you happen to cross paths with Aelia Banks, chances are you'll find yourself in the firing line.
I'm tired of her.
Over the years, her position among the most argumentative and brash rappers comes from her willingness to go to war with literally every other artist around her, whether justified or not. From Cardi B, who she labeled a poor man's Nicki Minaj, an illiterate, untalented rat, and a caricature of a black woman, to encouraging Iggy Azalea's self-deletion, Aelia has taken no prisoners throughout the course of her career. In this segment, it'd be easy to pluck any example from her vast list of feuds. But to exemplify just how far she'll go to eviscerate the people she beefs with, look no further than how she handled a dispute with Zayn Malik and the entire country of Ireland. After she believed that Zayn had plagiarized her work, she went on a tirade against him on Twitter, writing, "When your entire extended family has been obliterated by good old the US of A, will you still be trying to act like a white boy pretending to be black? Do you understand that you are a sand who emulates white boys' renditions of black malehood? Do you know how lost and cultureless you are?" She continued, "LOL, you were for even responding like that. Keep sucking this young Rapunzel, you hairy curry-scented." At this point in Azalea's career, it'd be
I vaguely remember watching a video and they mentioned her beefing with Zayn, but I don't remember the details. But yikes.
Statement to say that she's been blackballed from the industry. But one of Azalea's most impressive feats of nastiness came when she managed to anger an entire country, when she launched into a massive rant about the nation of Ireland. During a dispute on an airplane with flight attendants, Aelia went off on every woman from Ireland.
They all just like crowd around me, like chastising me like I'm an animal, you know? Just like, oh, we're not gonna have a problem, I'm just like, what's going on, you know? Just like get off the plane. I've like worked too hard in my life to be cornered by some ugly Irish, he's like, ugly Irish women here.
Although she has been diagnosed with bipolar and sought treatment for her mental health, that doesn't mean that she can't be held accountable when her behavior descends into straight viciousness. But where Aelia is renowned for being hot-tempered, she doesn't seem to ever take time to reflect her place in the world and how this makes others feel. But one rapper who does that while acknowledging his own flaws and striving for human connection wherever he goes is Kendrick Lamar. Although he's a self-described introvert and not your savior, as he made sure to remind everyone on his latest album, K-Dot always goes out of his way to be nice to those he encounters. Just look at this story from 2017, long after he was already a superstar. "My mother used to have a job working at a magazine in the photography department," wrote one Reddit user. "So in 2017, when he was being photographed for a cover, I went in with her to meet him. He was very polite. At one point, we ate some lunch, and me, him, and my mom just kind of talked. At the time, I wasn't super into music, so we didn't really talk about music. Kendrick asked questions about my mom's job and things like that. And eventually it came up that a family friend was a big Kendrick fan. And without even asking, he wrote a quick little note for her on a piece of paper, which I have attached. Kendrick is by far the nicest celebrity I've ever met. He was very polite and was just a genuine guy. Now, as he gets older, Kendrick's mindset is changing to the point that he no longer focuses on accolades or the competition aspect of hip-hop either. Instead, he just wants to connect with people. Now, I'm dropping the ego a bit. I want to take the greatest off it. I want to give people something they can hold on to. So whether it touches 100 million people or inspires one, I want to be that person." And on his most recent tour, K-Dot made that very clear whenever there was an opportunity for real, genuine connection with a fan on the tour, dedicating his full attention to rap with fans while on stage.
I love that. Love Kendrick. Yes, some of these points are valid. They had a good amount of proof that basically shows signs of these people being good people or bad people. But to be honest, we all have fucked up traits, okay? And we all have positive traits to some degree. So, you know, it's all about what ends up getting exposed, whether the public is going to determine you to be a good person or a bad person. Because there's a lot that we don't see, you know. So I'll just leave it at that. But sure, interesting bit. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what the videos you've been watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.